Join our family of creators. Your support means the world to us. Subscribe now to the Content Creator channel. Your support keeps us motivated and helps us bring you fresh, exciting content every week. Hit that subscribe button and be part of our journey. A marriage green card is a special document that allows the husband-wife of a U.S. citizen green card holder to live and work permanently in the United States. For many couples, this is the first and most important step toward building a life together in America. The process has always required careful attention to detail, but as of today, September 20th, 2025, the landscape has shifted significantly. Navigating this path now requires even more diligence. Under the current Trump administration, the federal government has introduced a series of procedural updates, not a single sweeping new law. But these updates fundamentally alter the application experience for couples. These changes are happening for a few key reasons, according to government statements. The administration has expressed a strong desire to enhance national security, ensure the integrity of the U.S. immigration system. This means a much stronger focus on verifying that every marriage is authentic, not entered into just for an immigration benefit. The goal is to close loopholes that could be exploited. As a result, USCIS has been directed to tighten its review processes, making every step more rigorous and demanding. The practical effect is the journey to a green card has become more complex. What used to be straightforward now involves more paperwork, stricter deadlines, a higher level of scrutiny. For couples starting today, the old ways may no longer be enough. Being unprepared, relying on outdated information is now one of the biggest risks, potentially leading to delays or outright denials. This guide will help you understand what has changed and what you need to do to succeed. The new environment demands a proactive, meticulous approach. The burden of proof is heavier than ever. Show your marriage is real and demonstrate you meet every technical requirement. It is very important to understand Congress has not passed a major new immigration law that overhauls the marriage green card system. Instead, what we are seeing in 2025 is a strategy of incremental change. The Trump administration has used its executive authority to direct agencies like USCIS to modify their internal operating procedures, forms, enforcement priorities. Think of it less like a single giant wall being built and more like hundreds of small new hurdles being placed along a familiar path. Each one on its own might seem manageable, but together they create a much more challenging obstacle course for applicants. These small procedural changes add up to a significant new reality. For example, a simple mistake like using an older version of a form, which might have been accepted with a warning in the past, will now almost certainly lead to an immediate rejection of your entire application package. Similarly, the requirement to submit separate payments for different forms, instead of one combined check, adds a layer of complexity that can easily trip up applicants who are not paying close attention. These are not changes to the fundamental eligibility for a green card, but they are changes to the process that can stop an application in its tracks. The cumulative effect of these modifications is a system that is less forgiving of error. The grace periods and flexibilities that once existed are rapidly disappearing. The government's approach seems to be one of strict compliance, where every rule, no matter how small, is enforced to the letter. This means the responsibility falls squarely on you, the applicant, to be perfectly compliant. You have to check for the latest form versions on the USCIS website, read the instructions for each form multiple times, and ensure every single piece of required evidence is included in your initial submission. This new landscape can feel overwhelming, but understanding the strategy behind it is the first step towards successfully navigating it. Instead of looking for one big rule change, you must adopt a mindset of extreme thoroughness, treating every single step of the process with the highest level of care and attention. Let's break down the most significant procedural changes you will face when applying for a marriage green card in 2025. First and foremost are the new forms and stricter deadlines. USCIS is updating its forms more frequently, and you must use the absolute latest edition available on their website at the time of filing. There are no more grace periods. Submitting an application on a form that is even one day out of date will result in a rejection, and you will have to start over. Another key change involves application fees. In the past, you could often submit a single check to cover all the required fees for your application package. Now the rule is to submit separate payments for each form that requires a fee, such as the Form I-130, Petition for Alien Relative, and the Form I-485, Application to Adjust Status. The process for medical exams has also been tightened. Previously, many applicants filing from within the U.S., adjusting status, could wait to submit their medical exam report, Form 1693, until their interview or until USCIS requested it. Now the strong preference and in many cases requirement is to submit the completed medical exam with your initial application packet. While the COVID-19 vaccine is no longer a mandatory part of this exam, you must ensure you have received all other required vaccinations. While many of the new procedural hurdles are clear, there are still areas of uncertainty that couples should be aware of. One of the biggest question marks is the future of processing times. Although we know delays are happening now due to the increased scrutiny, the long-term trajectory is unknown. The administration has stated a goal of improving efficiency, but the current policies of stricter reviews work directly against that. Another area that remains somewhat fluid is the specific line of questioning during marriage interviews. Interviews are becoming more intensive. Focus can vary by field office and even by officer. The practical application of the public charge rule also carries some ambiguity. The rule is complex. Factors include sponsor's income, the applicant's age, health, education. The requirement to submit a strong affidavit of support, Form 1864, is clear, but USCIS sufficiency remains subjective. Most crucially, rules could change again even while your application is pending. Understanding the rationale behind these new, stricter rules can help applicants better navigate the system. The primary driver, as stated by the Trump administration, is a commitment to strengthening the integrity of the U.S. immigration system, cracking down on marriage fraud. Officials believe that by making the process more demanding and scrutinizing every detail, they can more effectively deter individuals who enter into marriages solely for the purpose of obtaining a green card. Politics also play a significant role in shaping these procedural shifts. The administration's broader immigration agenda emphasizes tighter controls, reduced overall immigration levels. Implementing stricter, more complex application procedures is one way to achieve this without passing new laws. Navigating the 2025 marriage green card process requires a clear and methodical plan. Following these steps can help you avoid common pitfalls and build the strongest possible case. First, start with research and organization. Before you fill out a single form, head over to the official USCIS website. Find the exact forms you will need, usually Form I-130, Form I-130A, Form I-485, Form I-864, Form I-765, and Form I-131 if you're applying from within the United States. Create a master checklist of every form, every supporting document, every photo, and every fee. Organize all your documents into clearly labeled folders, digital or physical. This initial organization will save you from chaos later on. Next, download fresh forms and read every instruction. Do not use a form you downloaded a month ago. Right before you start, download the latest PDF versions directly from USCIS. Read the instructions for each form from start to finish. Do not skim. Third, gather overwhelming proof of your relationship and finances. Go beyond the minimum. Collect your marriage certificate, photos from your entire relationship, travel itineraries from trips taken together, letters from friends and family. For financial proof, gather joint bank account statements, lease agreements with both names, shared utility bills, joint insurance policies. For the affidavit of support, Form 1864, provide the sponsor's tax returns for the last 3 years if possible. To truly understand the impact of the 2025 rule changes, let's compare the journeys of two fictional couples. First, meet Maria and David, who applied in 2023. They downloaded the forms and filled them out over a weekend. They wrote one check for the combined fees and mailed their package. They were approved on the spot. Now let's meet Priya and Sam, who are applying today in September 2025. They begin by spending an entire week just researching on the USCIS website, creating a detailed checklist of the 9 different forms and over 20 types of supporting documents they need. They carefully calculate the fees for the I-130 and I-485 and prepare 2 separate payments. In this stricter 2025 environment, your strategy must be built on precision and thoroughness. The most important piece of advice is to double-check and then triple-check every single detail. Before you mail your package, review every line of every form. Did you use the correct edition of the form, downloaded directly from the USCIS website this week? Are all names and dates spelled correctly and consistently across all documents? Have you signed in every required location with black ink? Your second priority should be to gather an overwhelming amount of evidence that your marriage is authentic. Do not settle for the bare minimum. Paint a vivid picture of your shared life for the USCIS officer who will never meet you. Prepare for your interview like a final exam. Do not assume it will be short and friendly. Sit down with your spouse and review your relationship history. Practice answering simple questions. Where did you meet? And obscure ones. What side of the bed does your spouse sleep on? Finally, seriously consider seeking legal help if your case has complications. Previous marriage, past visa, overstay, criminal record, even a minor one, sponsor with a borderline income. The path to a marriage green card in 2025 is undeniably more challenging than it has been in recent years. The rules are stricter, the scrutiny is more intense. The process demands a level of precision that can feel daunting. However, it is not impossible. While the hurdles are higher, they are not insurmountable. Your journey has already begun. This is one more challenge you'll overcome as a team.